Good morning, everybody. We are filming this service in pretty much of an empty house because of the new COVID situation here. In London at this moment, apparently 1 in 20 people is infected with the virus. So we're being particularly cautious. We're hoping that churches are not closed, but we don't know yet. The Archbishop of Canterbury has written to the Prime Minister begging basically to leave churches out if they decide to close things down. But we are undaunted because we're here at a filming session. I have with me the chief photographer, the best boy, and the musical director. And then there's me. We have no other musician this morning, but I will see if I can feed in some recorded music into the service for your pleasure. The other thing you'll notice is that this is not Christmas Day. This is Boxing Day. And let me just take a moment to explain to you Americans what Boxing Day is. It's taken me 30 years to figure this out. It's the day after Christmas, and it has nothing to do with pugilism. You don't see a lot of boxing. Nor apparently is a day when you pack up all the swag you collected for Christmas. It is something that is shrouded in history we do not know. However, we're still within the traditional 12 days of Christmas, so I invite you to just step back in time 24 hours and let this be Christmas here in this room. We've got a special reason to light our little flame this morning. The news of the spreading pandemic has brought a new threat of isolation and personal darkness. In the gloom of winter, the promise of bright days seems so far away. But just as with people from times long forgotten, in our hearts, there arises that nearly lost hope of miracles which may come. And so it is with the hopefulness of all humanity, past and present, that we greet this instant of light born in the darkness. It is in this spirit that our candle is glowing, let us say defiantly, in a darkening world. And just as in the vanished generations before us, we turn our faces toward the light and we turn our hearts toward an ancient promise that defies the cynicism of our times. We listen in expectation, and maybe we will hear. And here is what Richard S. Gilbert says about Christmas. He calls it the blessed hush. In the blessed hush of this hour, we settle down. We close off from our minds the noises that jangle our nerves. We open our ears and our hearts to ancient music that both soothes and sustains us. How we long for these few moments of quiet, away from workaday things, the incessant ringing of the phone, the steady hum of the computer, the crackling of electronic machines which will not let us be, the constant buzz of important talk. For a time we repair to a quieter world of the spirit, where life is not a matter of getting things done, where life has to do with being alive in this moment. And the experience of listening to story and song captures our notice and commands our attention. to be sure we are about important things. Our work in the world can be done by no one else. We are a vital cog in the great scheme of things. But just for a moment, let us put aside such important matters and listen to angel songs and prophet voices. Let us allow ourselves into the magic world of poetry and legend, which speaks a truth escaping our daily notice. Even as the cold penetrates our bodies, may we be warmed by the spirit of expectancy, living as icy winds chill us to the very bone. May we be warmed by a rebirth of our love for one another. And in the blessed hush of this hour, may we listen to the stirrings of our inmost selves and be glad to renew our acquaintances. Hush. Hush. I sometimes think about all of you who are watching from some remote place, if you're in Mexico or France or somewhere. And we have this meditation which is normally done together. Probably you're doing it not at the same time as we are. But that doesn't matter. This is a thing that transcends simple stuff like date and time. When we meditate, we all go to the same place. So let's take a moment now as children who look with wonder at the bright lights of this occasion. Let us look with wonder at the Christmas story. Let us travel beyond mere reason and do it with happiness. Let us enter with the faith of little kids into the transforming image of light reborn in a darkening world. Let us feel the stark chill of a winter's hillside as shepherds. Out of the ordinary sweep of days, in a moment completely unexpected, glad tidings, good news appears. In this instant, the rough surface of daily life and toil yields to a surge of marvel and joy in the middle of our lives, through our patient endurance. Yes, the good news comes yet again. And let us imagine the diligence and the courage of the Magi, not content merely to wait, but actively to seek that new miracle of life and hope. It may be that in our own pilgrimage toward the holy, we will also bring gifts, the gifts of wakefulness and contemplation, the gifts of intelligence and study, the gifts of recognition and memory, the gifts of love and real worship. And let us feel the damp of the stable, that tiniest room in our hearts, that part left only for what we cannot usually see. In this unappreciated place, something happens that the busy inn of our lives cannot accommodate. In this unlikely place of new birth, let us join as children in the hope of the bright truth. Let us find space for the incredible, for the ignored and the forgotten. Let us find space for the miraculous. So in our shared silence, let us rest for a while. In the loving embrace of the silence, let us turn our thoughts to those whose presence we sorely miss and remember, those whose paths have led them far from this gathering of warmth and light. And to all those faces we do not yet know, whom we resolve to welcome in all those days and seasons yet to come. This we do now as we go together once again into the good silence. Great Spirit of rebirth, let us not forget the miracle that we have seen but scarcely believe. Keep us from shallowness and cynicism, just as you keep us from mere credulity. Restore in us the fresh gaze of children as we grow together toward real maturity. And let the blessings we have known flow out from this fond gathering out there into the great dark world. And so we say, so be it. Inshallah. Shalom. Amen. I ask Lowell to sing for us.
Thank you. Yes, it must be love. Yes, it must be love. One, then two, indivisible, you. Yes, it must be love. When will you be mine? When will my love become divine? Night and day, near and far, oh beloved, the avatar. When will you be mine? And how can I be free? How can I be really me? I and me and my, oh, let me live, Lord, so I can die. Yes, it must be love now. I give you my day. You show me your lovely way, how to be, what to see. Think of you, Lord, and none of me, showing me my way home.
That was a song which I believe is dedicated to Lowell's spiritual hero, Meher Baba. Lovely it is too. Thank you very much. So now I guess we just have to ask, what season is this? The season we're in now. Is it the ancient festival of the winter solstice, perhaps, celebrated by what are called pagans? The time of bright bonfires, the days of the god Saturn, or maybe the rebirth of the Egyptian sun god? Is it the anniversary of the birth of a prophet in a slum in Bethlehem called the City of Bread? Yes, it is all these three and probably others that I have not named. The images of something born in darkness and yet bringing light are universal. And because they're universal, they live not just in faraway places and forgotten times, but in us as well. Something in us responds. When the light withdraws to its farthest point, the darkness surrounds us, the hope of light appears. So this is the season when we leave behind our normal sense of what's possible. It isn't really that we suspend our disbelief. It's that surrounded as we are with images of shepherds and wise men and all that, let alone reindeer and snowmen, it's a matter of acceptance of a goodly dose of bright possibility that bypasses our oh so careful theories. So, as remote as it may seem to us now, let's just for a moment cast our minds back as far as we can remember to the early Christmases of our childhood. Shall we do that? Remember? You're a young child. You've just lived through one of the longest nights there can ever be. As you lay in your bed, sleepless and willing time to pass quickly, your ears were alert to every sound. Creaking floorboards, groaning pipes, the laughter of revelers on the street outside, each half-heard sound carried possibility. Reindeer on the roof, elves, a fat guy somehow wedged inside a chimney. Perhaps the physics of all that had already begun to occur to you. Like, how does everybody's Lego, Barbie, soccer ball, and Xbox manage to fit into one sack? How fast do reindeer have to fly to make it to your cousin's place in another town? How far away is the North Pole, actually? Above all, how does Father Christmas know what you want? How does he know what you deserve? So you speculate. If I sneak out of bed right now, gently take the dressing gown from the bedpost without making even a rustling sound, and tiptoe downstairs, sticking to the carpet, will I encounter a stranger? Will there be a stranger there? And if I do, what will happen when he realizes he's been seen? Will the jolly old guy suddenly turn angry and dangerous? What will he do? Oh my God, at this very moment, something incredible is happening in my house. You remember that? It's almost unbearable. The normal, everyday life you've inhabited throughout your brief time on the planet seems not so normal and everyday after all. There are strange forces at work, things that can be joyous, but also terrifying. What you're dealing with is a serious case, perhaps your first ever case, of what we call wonder. I can remember finding my dad's Santa Claus suit in the garage one July afternoon when I was about 10. I felt two simultaneous gusts of emotion that froze me in place over the trunk as I lifted the lid. One was a triumphant aha, the scientist who had unmasked a superstitious belief. The other was this wave of grief as I seemed to see my childhood evaporating in the heat. You might see that as a symbol of how things are going for us humans right now. We keep turning over rocks, peering into microscopes, finding and destroying myths like we swat flies. Meanwhile, we go to extreme lengths to try to recapture the sense of mystery and awe that somehow gives life not mere explanations, but meaning. So how do we close that trunk lid? How do we find the wide-awake kid squirming with awe beneath the bed covers? Maybe we need a season dedicated to just that. A time when, realizing we're just too damn smart for our own good, we allow ourselves to slip into this little doze of reason, to recall a different reality in which amazement and admiration overcomes our chattering about the real world. Would that be so bad? A kind of law against being a smarty pants modern person just for a few days? If we know too much, if we're too smart and too jaded, we need something special which we can find in this ancient season if we look for it. What we really need is to be reborn, to find the unjaded child within. We need the holy child to refresh the fading images of youth, the seat of all hope. This is no time for theology or opinion. Knowledge has to give way to real, heartfelt experience. Is Christmas too commercialized? We ask that, but for now, we forget it. Was Jesus' birth from an immaculate conception? Did it happen at Christmas? Did it ever really happen at all? Today, in truth, we don't give a damn. Those speculations don't bring us peace. They bring negativity. They bring a fear of life. Where is Christmas? We have it within us. It was never absent. What we must do this year is re-enter that ancient miracle, greet the Holy Child and Mary and Joseph and the shepherds up there on the hillside and the wise men on their camels or whatever, and just give vent to our longings. And if the spirit of Christmas touches us, here's what we'll do. We'll let the joy that we've suppressed all year bubble out of us. We'll greet each other in a new spirit of forgiveness and understanding. We'll spare a thought for those who live outside the circle of our warm gathering and find ways to reach out and to help. Now, this is the time when legend says that angels appear, animals speak, the very stars themselves act out the story. If there's someone that we hate or someone we envy, what better time could there be than now to forgive them, to give them a break? If there are things we fear, what better time to engage with those fears? If there's some small corner of ourselves that's too frozen to grow, what better time than this to come blinking into the light? Because you see, it is all true. Despite our cleverness, the miracle-strewn moment of new beginnings has come round again for us. Swoop down with strong wings to whisper to us yet again from our shells of hard habit. We find ways to believe the wonderful and the impossible. So today, let's just pause for a moment. Just feel the surge of reasonless hope and joy that is our birthright. Yes, even ours. We free-thinking, half-atheist, rational churchgoers, let us take hold of that joy and cast it around us, including everybody present. Let's extend it even further out there into the street, across the town and country and hillside and valley and boundary and sea, into countries unknown and to people that we never will meet. But let's do that anyway, because we know that that is the only true and right way to spend our joy. Amen. I really miss Jill and Will, the pianists, now, because this is where music comes in to rescue me from talking. But they'll be back again as soon as we're allowed. The four of us here this morning have all had negative lateral flow tests before we came in, and we're all being extremely careful. We've lost too many people in this congregation over the last 2 years to risk anyone else, so that's why we're doing it. We'll be back in some form or other next week, and maybe we'll be back with a whole room full of people. We don't know. And either Jill or Will be back playing us some beautiful music, and that'll be great. And that'll be next year. Yeah. 2022. Okay, let's close now. And I'll take the gaffer, best boy, cameraman, and music director out for a cup of coffee. But as we turn to home and hearthside, let us go carrying our own inner lights. Let us go out into the streets expecting miracles, for a layer of cynicism has been peeled away and the possibility of new understanding has begun yet again. And so may the spirit of the holy season stay with us. Stay with us, if it were possible, all year, and thus embolden us to look after one another until we meet again. Amen.